This House is in session. Before we commence, I wish to welcome and acknowledge the presence of the first-year law students from the Barbados Community College, accompanied by the head of the department, Ms. Letitia Bourne. I hope you all have an intriguing day in these chambers and that you follow closely what is being said and done in these chambers, especially as it relates to the debate today. I do believe that you should be able to garner some knowledge from the matters that will be debated today. Minutes of the meeting held on 31st of March 2026, 21st of April 2026, 29th of April 2026, the 8th of May 2026 to be confirmed. Honourable Member for St. Philip West.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the minutes of the meetings of 31st of March, April 21st, April 29th, and May the 8th, all of 2026, be confirmed.
Beg to second that, sir.
The question is that the aforementioned minutes be confirmed. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. Meeting, the ayes have it. The aforementioned minutes are hereby confirmed. Minutes of the meeting held on Tuesday, 19th May 2026 to be deferred. Honourable Member for St. Philip West.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the aforementioned minutes be deferred.
I beg to second that, sir.
The question is that the aforementioned minutes be deferred. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. Meeting, the ayes have it. The aforementioned minutes are hereby deferred.
Announcements by Your Honour the Speaker. Messages from His Excellency the President. Petitions, papers, government notices, private members' business, notices of questions, reports from select committees, first readings of bills.
Honourable for Christchurch East.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the first reading of the criminal gangs bill. This is one dated 2026-05-27.
The question is that the bill be read the first time. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say no. Meeting, the ayes have it.
Ministers, congratulatory and/or obituary speeches, personal explanations, motions for leave of absence, oral replies to questions, notices of motions for the adjournment of the House on matters of urgent public importance, orders of the day.
Honourable Member for Christchurch West.
East.
Orders of the day. Withdrawing. Honourable St. Philip West.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the suspension of standing orders 6, 16, 18, 20, 42, 5, 43, and 44 for the remainder of today's sitting.
The question is that the aforementioned standing orders be suspended for the remainder of the day's sitting. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say no. Meeting, the ayes have it. The aforementioned standing orders are hereby suspended for the remainder of the day's sitting.
Government business.
Government business is the order of the day. Honourable Member for Christchurch East.
Sir, I beg to move the withdrawal of the Criminal Gangs Prevention and Control Bill, which is dated 29th April 2026. That bill has been replaced by the one I read for the first time just now, sir. The Criminal Gangs Prevention and Control Bill dated 2026-05-27.
The question is that order number 5 on the order paper be withdrawn. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it. Order number 5 on the order paper is hereby withdrawn.
Order number 7, sir, which is the new criminal gangs bill. In the name of the Honourable Minister of Legal Affairs and Criminal Justice, to move the second reading of the Criminal Gangs Prevention and Control Bill 2026. As he recognizes you.
Honorable Member for City of Bridgetown.
Mike.
Come,
Turn
Mike,
it.
you on?
Let's start.
My apologies, sir. A little nervous this morning, sir.
Honorable Member, I didn't hear so well. I know I was out last week, but I heard you just made a statement.
I withdraw that statement
I
respectfully.
think you should.
And sir, I want to crave your indulgence, sir. You have some water. You
Yes.
see me sipping momentarily, sir, but it's only water respectfully, sir.
I do not have an issue with that, Honorable Member.
Yes, sir. And sir, it gives me pleasure, Mr. Speaker, sir, to start this debate this morning, sir. And I would ask myself, how will I classify this bill, sir? I can only classify this bill respectfully, sir, as a landmark piece of legislation that will come into being, sir. Because for the first time in Barbados, we are seeking now to put on our law book, sir, and as part of a legislative program of the government, sir, the Criminal Gang and Prevention and Control Bill, sir. But before I proceed, sir, I also want to thank, sir, those persons who are involved in the consultation, sir, before we got here, sir. Before I was part of the Citizen Security and Advisory Council, sir. I was the co-chair of that council, sir. And we discussed at length, sir, the proposed legislation. We also looked, sir, at other jurisdictions, Jamaica, Trinidad, and I believe Bahamas. And we prepared a report consisting, sir, of our analysis, sir, consisting of our recommendations in a report to the Learned Attorney General at the time, sir. And I say that, sir, because we heard some noises that were saying that we weren't engaging in any serious work. But we were engaging in serious work, sir. And this is serious work, sir. This is serious work. And so I want to thank the members of that council, sir. I want to thank Attorney at Law, your permission if you could call names, Attorney at Law Marty Garnes, Senator Kamisha Benjamin, this outstanding work, and all other members, sir, because the council is made up, sir, of different members of society. So they were able to put their various angles on this legislation, sir, so that it reflects, sir, our society approach, sir. And also, sir, that we had a consensus among those, sir. That council also consisted, sir, of victims of crime. It also consisted, sir, of persons who came into contact with the criminal justice system too, sir. So as we had an all-encompassing approach, sir, to this bill, sir. Further, sir, I want to say too that the Bar Association was also consulted, and we received a report, sir, from the Bar Association with respect to this bill too, sir. So if there's any doubt about consultation in relation to the important stakeholders too, sir. But I believe, sir, that after this, given the fact that this is really a piece of legislation for the first time, sir, on the law books. And as you know, sir, as a practicing attorney, sir, that we've had multiple accused coming before the court, sir, charged with conspiracy, charged with murder, charged with other offenses, sir. But nobody has been charged, sir, with respect to particular offenses that we are now seeking, sir, to bring before the courts. I must say, sir, that in that consultation, sir, we plug all loopholes, sir. I don't know if that is good news to you, sir, as a defense attorney, sir. But indeed, we have plugged some of the holes. So you might have to look a lot harder, sir, search a lot wider, sir. But I know, sir, that you're very creative, sir, when you're at the bar, sir, and you will come.
There are always things called constitutional redress.
I say you're a very competent attorney, so I know that. And the Caribbean judge said, let's have a sip, sir. And I know that you're competent enough, sir, that you would be able to look. And indeed, sir, and that will grow the jurisprudence too, sir. Sir, this comes against a background, sir, of the trend, sir, that we're seeing in violence. We're seeing a trend, sir, in gun violence. We're seeing a trend, sir, of crimes of retaliation, sir. And one may ask, sir, are there gangs in Barbados? My research, sir, in fact, the unit in my department, the Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit, sir, they did a study in 2016, and they did it at the prison. And their report showed that persons actually admitted, confess of being part of a gang. I will lay that document in the house, sir, with your indulgence, sir, but I just want to let the public know, sir, that the research has been done. And the research shows, sir, young ages, sir, young men who are on remand, who are now serving a sentence, sir, they confess that they joined a gang at an early age, or that they know somebody who was in the gang, or that they associate with a gang, or that they were involved in gang-related activities, sir. So that is the background, sir, to this legislation, sir. But it goes wider, sir, because only last year at CARICOM, sir, the heads of government committed, sir, to dealing swiftly with anti-gang strategies, sir, because, sir, of the gangs, sir, crossing borders, respectfully, sir. So it will have to be a one Caribbean approach. So that how we're doing in Barbados, a one Barbados approach, sir. And that is why, sir, that we are moving to this legislation. That is why, sir, that we have to get serious in Barbados. And that is why, sir, that some people will say in Barbados, oh Lord, they're bringing a gang bill, and that this community might be affected, and that communities might be discriminated against. But you know, sir, this bill provides a safeguard, sir, because it states that where you live, where you come from, or where you live is not a determining factor to show or to bring proof that you're involved in a gang, or you're involved in gang-related activities, or that you're associated with a gang, sir. So I'm sorry to be so passionate about it, sir, but that is the only way, sir, that I'll be able to shift and to get rid, sir, of my nervous state, sir, respectfully, sir. But I say this, sir. I say this, that gangs are a threat, sir, throughout the region, sir. And that is a fact. That they are a threat to the institutions of governance, sir, of most of the democracies throughout the Caribbean, sir. And that gangs are a threat, sir, not only to the community, sir, but to the social and moral fabric of the community, sir. It's a fact, sir. And that is why, sir, the commitment, sir, from the heads of government, sir, is to strongly reinforce anti-gang strategy, sir. That is through legislation, sir. That is through crime prevention, sir, measures, sir. That is true, sir, in public education, sir. Because I believe, sir, given the fact that this bill, I term it as landmark, my ministry would undertake, sir, to do some public education. Use the form of GIS, sir, to educate the public, sir, about this legislation, sir. Sir, one may ask, sir, what this bill demonstrates. It demonstrates, sir, that this government is serious about citizen security and public safety, sir. It demonstrates, sir, that this government, sir, is interested, sir, in the upkeep of the rule of law, sir. Further, sir, it demonstrates, too, sir, that this government is willing to confront, sir, frontally, the gang networks and the criminal networks in this country, sir, and not to back away, sir. And, sir, with the stiff penalties attached thereto, sir, it is my respectful submission, sir, that these penalties would act, sir, as a deterrence. Because we're not only going after the gang leader and the gang member and the associate, sir, but those persons who believe, sir, they could conceal, sir, activities related to gangs, sir. But I heard a whisper, sir, although they agree with the bill, sir. It's not Mackenzie friend, sir. I said, I can prosecute too, sir, no. But I wouldn't do that today. But, sir, but if someone can say, sir, that the government should go after the financial, sir, aspect of the gang network, sir, then, sir, that person needs to do some reading, sir. Because I'm certain, sir, that in 2019, sir, a piece of legislation was passed called the Proceed and Instrumentalities of Crimes Act, sir, that replaced the Proceed of Crimes Act. That is more updated than that act, sir. That in that act, sir, that you have to show a cause of unexplained wealth. And that I've been informed very shortly, there will be a civil asset recovery fund set up, sir. And that fund would carry out, sir, certain aspects, sir, of the bill, sir. And that it is on our law book, sir. It is on our law book, sir. Right there, sir, that this can work alongside, sir, with this bill. And indeed, sir, if someone is convicted under this legislation, sir, once it's passed, the DPP department or the prosecutor, they have within their armor, sir, the right to make an application on the same act, sir, to go after or look and see whether any wealth came about as a result of a gang-related activity. It's simple as that. I didn't want to answer anybody, sir, but I believe I wanted to put it on the record, sir, that it exists. It exists, sir. But I intend, sir, to be short in my speech, sir. But I will go on and go on, sir. I will go on and go on, sir. I want to say, sir, that this bill also, as I said, that gangs being a threat to the institutions of governance, sir, that this bill also have in it and built in it, sir, protection, sir, for persons who are involved in matters under this legislation, sir, whether it's a juror, whether it's a judge, or whether it's some officer connected to the case, connected to a gang-related case. And so we are protecting our institutions, sir. We're enhancing our criminal justice system, sir. We are giving police officers, important stakeholder, another tool, sir, to fight crimes. We understand, sir, that the passing of legislation is not, sir, cannot stand by itself, sir, in relation to the fighting of crime. We understand, sir, that with this too, there must be, sir, crime prevention measures, sir. And we'll get into that. And I know, sir, the member for St. Michael's South, sir, will speak to that too, in terms of crime prevention measures having come from that ministry, sir, and having the lead of a social ministry, sir. I'm not calling out the member for St. Michael's South. But, sir, and we are saying, this legislation is saying, look, we want our communities to be safe, no? Safe. We want back our communities. The member for St. Lucie was at pain a couple of weeks ago after a particular event in his constituency. I won't speak because I don't want to prejudice anybody here, sir. But indeed, he was at pains to say, I want my community back. This is not the St. Lucie or the product of St. Lucie that he know about. The whole character of the community changed. So this legislation, sir, indirectly or directly is saying, look, we need safer communities. We need to bring back our communities, sir. And, sir, I want to say, sir, as I said before, this bill now provides an additional tool for the police officers. An additional tool, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, what is also important, sir, is that this forms part of government legislative agenda, sir. And anybody, sir, and nobody can challenge, sir, the legislative agenda, sir, of this government, sir. And when we look, sir, of what was done, sir, I classify it, sir, as a robust agenda, sir, an aggressive agenda, sir. That our criminal justice system, sir, was impacted so positively, sir, that we had increased criminal judges, sir. We increased the number of prosecutors, sir. We made amendments, sir, to the Firearms Act, sir. Important amendments to the Firearms Act, sir. Placing stiffer penalties, sir. We made amendments, sir. In fact, a totally new bail act was passed, sir, on the South African model, sir, placing duties and obligations on the state and on the individual or his representative, sir, with respect, sir, to his liberty, sir, or his right to bail respectfully, sir. So we've passed, sir, robust legislation. So when we look, sir, because, you know, we will hear some noises, sir. We will hear some noises that will say the past legislation don't work, sir. But I can say to you, sir, that when we look, sir, at, I want to get the full thing of the bill, sir. But it's indeed, sir, the plea bargaining bill, sir. every lawyer in Barbados, sir, everybody in the streets will say, sir, that the plea bargaining bill that was passed by this government is working, sir. That has impacted, sir, has impacted also on the backlog of cases, sir. Because you know well, sir, you know well, that 3 or 4 men, sir, in the trial, and that 2 take a deal, it not only shortened the case, but it might also involve in a person who decides, like, you see me? Well, I got evidence against me. And what people call as laws, we can throw in the towel and take a plea, sir. So you ain't got to go through a trial. A 6-man multiple accused trial takes at least, especially when you have a lawyer, like the Honourable Speaker, sir. You could expect cross-examination will last, sir, for a good time. Couple of days. But a rigorous cross-examination. And a purposeful cross-examination. Because one thing, sir, he was doing a trial, sir. And the lawyer was cross-examining. I won't call him in. He doesn't belong to this party, sir. My apologies, sir. But he was pointed to a section in the Archbold, sir. That rear cross-examination, sir, is irrelevant, sir. That the judge has a duty, sir, to stop the cross-examinations. But that won't happen to you, sir. That won't happen to you, sir. So if you're saying that legislation is working, sir, that legislation, sir, is working, sir. And I really want to congratulate, sir, the government and the former Attorney General, sir, for having the wisdom, sir, in passing that piece of legislation, sir. Sir, but what is coming now, I will not go, sir, to the substance of the bills, but I could inform, sir, this chamber, that the legislation, sir, for the establishment of the gun court, sir, is ready. I could also inform, sir, and through the Attorney General, sir, will back me on this, that the domestic terrorism legislation is ready. Hopefully we'll debate that soon. The evidence amendment bill, sir, is ready, sir. So we have a whole slew, sir, of legislation, sir, that will come, sir, to this chamber. Will come to this chamber, sir, to show of the government's intention, sir, to fight crime through legislation respectfully. As I said before, sir, that legislation by itself, sir, is not the only tool, sir. But we have to use, sir, crime prevention measures, sir. I was in this house, sir, and I sat through a budget, and I heard, sir, of the Chapman Challenge, sir. A couple of weeks ago, sir, I was in a meeting dealing with the Chapman Challenge, sir. And of course, it is backed, sir, by this administration, sir. I was also in here, sir. And I came into contact, sir, with a $5 million fund to be set up, sir, to encourage churches and faith-based organizations, sir. My friend from St. Peter, sir, will be able to go into details of that, sir. I know, sir, that you had a press conference, sir, but those types of programs, they are central, sir, to the crime prevention program, sir. Central. Even, sir, the summer camp programs too, sir. It's central and form part, sir, of a crime prevention program, sir. And, sir, in my ministry, sir, and we can talk, sir, I can talk about the National Peace Program, sir, and the initiatives that they're putting in place, sir. And that we as individual MPs, sir, that we are doing in our constituency, sir, to build, and it's important, sir. You know why it's important, sir? Because we have to pull those at-risk youth, sir, from out of the clutches, sir, of gang leaders, sir. It's important. We have to do it. And if we don't do it, sir, because we know who the gang leaders go after, sir. They go after, sir, the unemployed youth. They go after the youngsters that come from an at-risk family or dysfunctional family, sir. They go after the youth, sir, that really is engaging in substance abuse. And they go after the youth, sir, who obviously don't have any high standard of education, sir. So our policy, sir, must now be tailored, sir, to touch those at-risk youth, sir. Must be, sir. Must be tailored to touch them, sir. And to touch families too, sir. And the targeted approach, sir, to families. And these, sir, you will know, sir, as we walk through and practice through the criminal justice system, sir. That under the Penal Reform Act, sir, Penal System Reform Act, sir, that when a young man or young woman, let me say young woman, is found guilty by jury for a serious offense, you ask for a pre-sentence report. And when you go into that pre-sentence report, you will recognize, sir, that from an early age, at the age of 11 or 13, trouble at school, into drug involvement, disrespecting teachers, from a dysfunctional home. And when you look now of classifying him, sir, sometimes you have whether the person is a low-risk offender or whether the person is a high-risk offender. What are the factors that lead to this? But you know, what that is saying, that we don't have any, at that time, that there weren't any early intervention to move him out of that classification. And I'm confident, sir, that the Ministry of Education, sir, the other social ministries, that they, sir, too, sir, will be bringing and implementing early intervention programs, looking at families, sir, looking, sir, at a whole society approach and building back communities, sir. Because, sir, nothing beats a man who comes from Chapman Lane, Pine, who came out successful, who did good work. Remember for St. Michael South? Nothing will stop himself from going back in the Pine as a role model, sir. That's what we need. And sitting down, encouraging, providing inspiration to, sir, that we won't have, sir, that we will have more members, more people like the members of St. Michael South, sir, and that we will save, sir, some of the young people, sir. But I also want to say this too, sir, that sometimes we look at the accused, sir, and we look to see what measures we can put in place to save him and to save family. But we also have to look, sir, at the victim, sir, and the victim family, sir. We have to look at the victim and the victim family, sir. So because the anger that we might be in that family of losing a loved one, and that anger might manifest in different ways. It might manifest in different ways. So we must have a holistic approach, sir, with respect, sir, to crime prevention, sir. I want to say, sir, that this bill, although, what I'm going to say, that is tough. Yes, we will say it's tough, sir. Yes, we will say the penalties are tough, sir. Yes, he will say, sir, look, we are making a sport. But what he could also assure, sir, and I will go through it, sir, that there's still provisions in this bill that, I mentioned it before, the community from where you come from, sir, is not a factor. That's being fair. Even a person who is suspected of gang-related activity, sir, there are safeguards, sir, protecting him while he's in custody, sir. And they will go through them soon, sir. Excuse me, sir. But if you ask yourself, sir, why would a young man join the gang instead, sir, of going, like the students say today, sir, and furthering their education, joining and helping the landship, sir, forming a youth group, sir, playing football, sir, taking up a musical instrument and trying to play, sir, to get on the ship and make some money, sir. Going into farming, sir. Why, sir? Why, sir? As I said before, sir, it's because of the weak family support, the peer pressure, sir, the monetary gain, sir, that they believe they can get, sir, and they can be easily enticed, sir. Easily enticed, sir. Easily enticed, sir. I say, sir, that one aspect that we are not looking at too, sir. In fact, we are looking at it, I must say, let me take that back. We are looking at it. Most of the crime, sir, is a result, sir, of drug dependency, sir. Drug dependency. A man get Molly. A man get a Molly to get discouraged or influenced by gang leaders, sir. And that is why, sir, and speaking to the Honourable Prime Minister recently, sir, that there will be a need, sir, to reestablish, sir, a drug court, sir. Because we need, sir, to move those youngsters away, sir, from that habit, sir, or even the thought, sir, of engaging, sir, in illegal drugs, sir. Sir, I want, sir, to go in, sir, to the clauses of this bill, sir. I crave indulgence, sir. Yes, sir. I want to say, sir, that this bill, and I will say that this bill part one of this bill sets up definitions. Part 2 of the bill, sir, lists a number of offenses, sir, that you can be charged for, sir, that you can be convicted for, too, sir, or that you can be acquitted too, sir. And I go through them, sir. But I want to start, sir, with what we deem, sir, of a definition, sir, of a gang, sir. The definition, sir, of a gang in this bill clear indulgence, sir. Right. The meaning of a gang, sir. Section 3, A1 of the bill. Send me something. Right, sir. Like other jurisdictions, sir, Jamaica and Trinidad, sir, it defines, sir, a gang, sir. Of three, if you have 3 or more persons, sir, involved, whether it's formally or informally, sir, or a body, sir, or associate, sir, and engage, sir, in criminal activities, sir, through membership, sir, or participation, sir, or an association, sir, whether individually, jointly, or collectively, sir, if they issue threats, sir, if they commit criminal offenses, sir, and indeed, sir, if there are acts of intimidation, if they drive fear in communities, sir, that is captured, sir, in this legislation, sir. That is captured here, sir, in this legislation, sir. Or whether obtain, sir, some sort of financial benefit, sir, directly or indirectly too, sir. So it sets an offense, sir, it defines gang, sir, and it also sets an offense, sir, it defines who is a gang member too, sir. And indeed, sir, we have violated to say the person who associate with a gang, sir. Who associate with a gang. And that, sir, is one of the amendments that we made, sir, in bringing, sir, an associate in, sir, into this bill because of certain concerns of important stakeholders, sir, in this matter, sir. And, sir, I said before that we are looking, sir, and we are seeking, sir, to protect communities, sir. As you recognize, sir, in this bill, respectfully, sir, it speaks, sir, to a gang member. It defines a gang member too, sir. It defines the gang member. And, sir, the meaning of a gang, sir, it defines, as I said before. And what is important, sir, is that whether you have a flag or whether you have some sort of mark or whatever, that's important, sir. It is the evidence, sir. It is the evidence that will support, sir, a person, sir, in relation to gang membership, sir, who acknowledge the gangs, who promotes the gang too, sir. The evidence, sir, of a person in terms of proceedings, sir, any statement made or information given, distributed, or communicated by a person on behalf of or in the name of a gang, sir. That's one element I put out, sir, respectfully, sir. But in that section, sir, provides the evidence, sir, that would be needed, sir. And I repeat again, sir, that there's a protective mechanism in this bill because the bill states that the community in which a person resides shall not be a factor in determining whether the person is a member of a gang. I have to say that, sir. Because I know that this is something that they would jump on, sir. I know this is something that they would jump on, sir. And that's why I said to you, sir, that we plug, sir. We plug not only the hole, sir, but we anticipate the debate and the argument, sir, that will come, sir. And so that is what, sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, I know that you're accustomed, sir, as a defense lawyer, sir. You anticipate what the other side will come with, sir. But I will move further, sir, because I don't intend, sir, to go through You did. All the clauses of the bill. The Attorney General suggested, sir, that he would go through the clauses, sir. But I want, sir, to say something important. And I'm glad, sir, that we've captured in this bill the offense of harboring a gang leader, harboring a gang member, sir. Because it's my view, sir, that harboring is such a serious offense. Harboring is such a serious offense, sir. I had made some notes on it, and I really want to spend a little time on it, sir. I want to spend a little time on it. Because people believe, because if you have knowledge, sir, that a gang member, associate, or gang leader is involved in gang-related activity, the important word is knowledge, sir. You have knowledge, sir. Or we call the mens rea. And if you have that knowledge, but you decide, and the police obviously put up there, wanted, all that. But you decide that, you know what, I can go rent an apartment, and they can cut 2 keys, and I can give to the man. But I ain't gonna put the renting of the apartment in my name. I can put it in somebody fictitious name. But they still have access to it. Because some people normally, sir, you know, people rent apartments, sir, they don't put it in the name, sir. You know, sir? Huh? I talk about for confidential purposes, sir, if you have a meeting, sir. Let me make that clear, sir. For purposes, sir, of either having a confidential meeting, sir. A business meeting, sir. A business meeting, sir. Let me make it clear. Because some people are looking very uncomfortable, sir.
I see the honorable member for St. Philip.
Yes. Sorry, so.
Smiling.
He's looking.
Smiling.
He's smiling.
He's
So
smiling.
if you decide, sir, that you're going to rent the apartment, sir. And in the morning, sir, in the morning time, you can bring ham and eggs. You got the person inside that apartment, sir. And then at lunchtime, sir, you're going to bring a roti, a chefrat roti or whatever. And then in the evening time, sir, you can bring some dinner for him. Having the knowledge, sir, that this person is a gang leader, this person is a gang member, and that they're involved in gang-related activities, sir, in accordance, sir, with the schedule of this act, sir, because the schedule of this bill sets out, sir, offenses, sir, that relate to gang-related activities, sir. And you know that, sir. You know that. Then you're committing a very serious offense under this legislation, sir, under this act. So even if you, sir, well, of course, it makes provision, sir, for a person who in locus parentis, sir, that they might have a mitigating factor. They might have a mitigating factor, sir, because, of course, there's a difference, sir, between a mother and a child or relatives, sir. And that thing, sir, I mean, that is different, sir, from an ordinary person or an associate or a person who knows full well that this person is involved in criminal activity, sir. I am of the view, too. This is my personal view. I'm of the view. For the offense of harboring, sir, in fact, is under this act. It's under this act, sir. Because under this bill, we have placed it, sir, on the footing of firearm offenses. Because if you're charged for a firearm-related offense, you cannot get bail from magistrate's court. You have to apply to the High Court, sir. And so in this bill, if you're charged for offenses under this bill, sir, under this legislation once it's passed, sir, you have to make an application for bail to a High Court judge in Chambers, sir. That is how serious we are treating these matters, sir. That's how serious we are treating, sir, to the matters of gang violence, sir. So I said to my ministry that we need to do, and through GIS, to warn those persons, sir, of the offense of harboring. It is an obstruction to justice. It is a showing of contempt, sir, for the important stakeholders in the fight against crime and the hard work they're doing. And I'm saying that I know the Learned Attorney General will speak, sir, to the penalties. But there's a very serious penalty attached to the offense, sir, of harboring, sir. Very serious penalty attached to the offense of harboring, sir. And I say to my ministry, sir, that we might have to do some serious public education, sir. Because somebody might believe that is not an offense, but it is an offense, sir. It is an offense. And, sir, let me speak, sir, to another aspect of this legislation, this bill, that I believe, sir, not only demands transparency and demands accountability, sir, from the state. Because, sir, in this bill, a person can be detained for 72 hours, sir. Before the warrant, yeah. Before the warrant. But built into this bill, sir, once you believe, sir, that the person has committed or about to commit, or that they were interfering with investigations, sir, or prejudice the investigations, sir, then you could detain, sir, for 72 hours. But that detention, sir, is not just carte blanche. There's an obligation on the officer who's detaining the suspect in custody, sir. Because we have to say that, I would say that this bill is a balanced bill, sir. Stiff penalties, yes. But on the other hand, sir, it shows and places obligations, sir, on the important stakeholder, that is not also the suspect and the police officer, commissioner of police. But if you detain that person, sir, for 72 hours or warrant, sir, you have an obligation, sir, at law, sir. You have an obligation. Because you have to have a record, sir, of the grounds of detention. Yes, sir. You have to inform the suspect, sir. You have to inform the suspect of the grounds, sir. You have to. It's mandatory, sir. And I will say, sir, that even if the suspect representative, sir, or he of himself, sir, asks for that record, the state is under the obligation to provide that record, sir. So when we speak about transparency and fairness and accountability, sir, it is in this bill, sir. There's, to use the local term, there's no unfairness. There's no unfairness in this bill. But because we put in this in the bill, that doesn't mean or take away that we are dealing with gang violence at a serious level. You know, and one thing, sir, I must say, that if the commissioner of police or representative decide that, look, I ain't seen the grounds for detaining this person, he can release him. He can release him. That's how fair this bill is, sir. Right, Attorney General, that's how fair the bill is. And you could also, sir, apply to a judge in chamber and get an ex parte order for further detention. But you know what's on the back end of that, sir? Is that the suspect can also apply to the High Court, sir, for discharging that order too. So you talk about fairness, we talk about accountability, transparency, sir, built in this act, sir, built in this legislation, sir. I want to say, sir, that what is important in this act is, as I said before, and I'm glad so that Attorney General is here too, sir, that gangs threatens institutions of government and democracy, sir. Our judiciary, sir, is an important part, sir, for democracy, sir. And built into this act, sir, this bill, is offenses that a gang leader, an associate, or gang member, that if he, sir, or she, or whoever, sir, decide, look, I want to tamper, I want to intimidate, sir, I want to put a stain, sir, on the judiciary, sir, or threaten, sir, intimidate them, sir, that they are built into this bill, sir, penalties, sir, that are very serious, sir. And the Learning Attorney General, sir, would spell out those penalties, sir. Spell out those penalties, sir. Even, sir, with respect to a juror, too, sir. Because our jury system, sir, has worked well. I only can remember one blotch on our system, sir. That's the concept-based drug case, sir, where a juror, sir, was contacted by the accused man and met, sir, the accused man and got some money. But what happened in the end, sir? A charge was brought for perverting the course of justice, and the person was, had a custodial sentence, sir. I say that to say, sir, that this is a warning, sir, to also the gang leader, the associate, or the gang member, sir, that do not touch, sir, our institutions, sir, of governance. We know, sir, that they're a threat to democracy, sir. We know, sir, that they're a threat to our community. And we know, sir, that they're a threat, sir, to the public safety and welfare of our citizens, sir. I, sir, want to touch on recruitment, sir. Because in this bill, sir, carries severe penalties, sir, for a gang leader, or a gang member, or associate, sir, seeking to recruit, sir, persons into a gang, sir. It carries severe penalties, sir. The Learning Attorney General, sir, will go through those penalties, sir. But there's some very stiff penalties, sir. And recruitment is important, sir, because we have to nip it in the bud, sir. We have to nip it in the bud. We have to ensure, sir, that the penalties, sir, are as a deterrent for persons who are seeking to recruit young people into gangs, sir. Recruit them into youth groups. Recruit them into a football club. Recruit them into church. Recruit them into St. Catherine's cricket team, sir. You know, sir, this is a very, I call it a landmark bill, sir, because we are protecting young people. We are protecting young people, sir, from the clutches of gang leaders, sir. And that even if you go near a school, and you try your best to recruit young people too, sir, that's an offense too, sir. And it carries stiff penalties too. And the reason we are saying that, we are placing that in this bill, because of the at-risk youth, because of the youth, sir, the families that they come from, sir. And those you have to build strong families. You have to rebuild our families. I come from a strong family in St. Philip, the Mason family. And strong family structures. And, you know, we have so much role models, sir. And once we can have, sir, the list, sir, that they know will be sent to me, sir, from people's empowerment, sir. Of those families, sir, that we can touch. Those families that we can cater programs to, sir, to bring them, sir, from the brink, sir. Because this is a whole society approach, sir. And, sir, we must also call, sir, on the private sector, too, sir, to get involved, sir. Similar to what Project STAR is doing in Jamaica, sir. An important project, sir. Extremely important project. So only on last weekend, sir, as MP, sir, I launched a program, Equipped to Elevate. And what touched me, sir, is that one of the youngsters who receives tools, sir, and he's from the Essence Street, he said to me, you know what? People believe that this community is about crime. But I ain't about no crime. I am about lifting myself. I want to start my own business. I want to work for myself. I don't want to go there and rob somebody from their hard-earned money. Nobody can bring a gun to me. He said that, sir. And so programs like that, sir, will permeate through constituencies and through communities and will only redound, sir, to the benefit of young people and to assist her, sir, assist this government in the fight against crime, sir. Sir, you know, I know you have a second bite, sir. And he said that he will give a short speech, sir. But he still have time to go, sir. And let me say, sir, that I also view the tipping off, sir, too. This bill, sir, speaks to tipping off. If you tip off a gang leader, if you tip off an associate, sir, knowing full well, sir, that an offense is about to be committed, or offense is committed, or that the person is involved, sir, in gang-related activities, sir, that is also a crime, sir. That is also a criminal offense. You know, we take these things lightly. But sometimes I see things on your WhatsApp where somebody sending around something saying, don't go down the road. A lot of police down there. I say, that is tipping off too, no, sir. Because you know that was you know that saying, sir? That if you got a gun in your car, or if you got whatever you have, the police down there. So I tipping you off, no? And you committing an offense, no? So this bill is so all-encompassing, sir. The tipping off, the recruitment, sir, the concealing, the harboring. All, sir, of these things are captured, sir, in this bill, sir. And so, even, sir, as recently, sir, well, I don't want to go into the evidence, sir. But if you decide that you can use a police uniform, or that you can use some part of the police or any part of an agency involved in the protection of the law, sir, and use that, sir, for the commission or carrying out of an offense, sir, it is, sir, a criminal offense on this bill, sir, and carry a very stiff penalty too, sir. I don't want to speak about events, because, as I say, I'm an attorney at law. I don't want to prejudice anybody's trial. I ain't do that. But if you use police gear or police uniform in the commission of an offense under this bill, gang-related activities, sir, carries a very stiff penalty, sir. Extremely stiff penalties. So I said up front, sir, what this bill is doing, sir. What this bill is seeking to do. This bill is seeking to ensure that the citizens' security, the safety of our citizens, sir, is captured, sir, and protected, sir, in this bill, sir. This bill is sending a signal and a warning to, sir. And in conjunction, sir, with the anti-gang strategies that the heads of government said that we must do at a serious level, sir, this Parliament is doing today, sir. This Parliament is doing today, sir. Sir, you know, I want to today, sir, speak briefly, sir, on the fact, sir, that we've had a number of firearm-related offenses, sir. We've had crimes committed. We have murder by firearms, sir. We've had, sir, possession of firearms, sir. We've had possession of ammunition, sir. The question, sir, that people will ask, sir, whether, sir, in the context, sir, of a criminal justice system, sir, whether offenses or, let me say, cases, sir, that are lodged under this bill, sir, whether, sir, they will move through the system as quickly, sir, or whether, sir, they will be part of a backlog, sir. But I want to say to the country, sir, that there's been a drastic improvement, sir, in case management in relation, sir, the police gathering of files, the production of statements, sir, to move cases forward, sir. I don't have the statistics here, sir, but I believe in my rapport, sir, I'll be able to tell you the type of work that has been done, sir, to bring efficiency to our criminal justice system, sir. But I would say to the Learned Attorney General too, sir, that I believe, respectfully, that once we establish the two-gun court, sir, that offenses under this legislation, sir, can be heard by the gun court too. That's just a suggestion, I'm saying. That's just a suggestion. Because at some times that court might be free. And you don't want adjournments. But you want to ensure the public, sir, that there's confidence and also to reassure the confidence in the criminal justice system, sir. That's all I'm saying. Respectfully, sir. That's all I'm saying. Respectfully, Learned Attorney General. That's all I'm saying. And, sir, so we have, I think I've touched the important aspects of this bill, but my learned friend, the Learned Attorney General, will also get into the clauses and the specific details, sir, of this bill. All you can say, sir, in closing, sir, not closing, no, because I can't back to close, sir. I can't back to close. All I can say, sir, that this bill, sir, is a landmark bill, sir. This bill, sir, shows the commitment, sir, of this administration, sir, in fighting crime in this country, sir. This bill, sir, reassures the public that this bill is only for a small group of persons, huh? Because the majority of young people in this country are positive young people. This bill is for those who believe that they could take over a community, that they could run people out of the community, that they could intimidate residents of a community, sir. This bill is about dealing with them, sir. This bill is about dealing with them. But in dealing with them, as I said before, there's an aspect of transparency, accountability, and fairness in this bill, sir. So in the circumstances, sir, I move, sir, that this bill now pass.
Read a second
I
thing.
read the second thing, sir. Sorry, read the second thing.
Honourable Member for St. Peter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I am happy to be able to join the debate on this important piece of legislation. Now, before I got involved in politics at this level, I was always amazed at the discussion and the debate that I heard from time to time about whether or not there were gangs in Barbados. Maybe some of my now colleagues were involved in that discussion, but it always struck me, and those who sent me here know that I speak my mind. It always struck me that that discussion was probably a way to get away from facing what the country was facing. And I say that, Mr. Speaker, whichever party, as a matter of fact, I think both political parties were involved in that discussion. And it amazed me then, it would still amaze me now, because I'm consistent in my views. I always thought that that was a way of avoiding an issue that needed to be confronted. I stand here, Mr. Speaker, in the footsteps, the one who came before me as Member of Parliament for my constituency, and the one who served as a mentor for me, always said to us, when you have issues, you face them and you fix them. In contemporary Barbados, we think about gangs as groups of people who come together. It used to be physically, it could now be virtually, but who come together with the intention of creating mischief, wreaking havoc, committing crime, endangering lives, engaging in negative behavior, negative activity. In Barbados, at least where I come from, in Rose Hill, in St. Peter, in Spikestown, all over St. Peter, we're not interested so much in if it has a name. We're not interested so much in if there are signs that you have to tattoo on your body. We're not interested in all those trappings. We're interested in the fact that people have come together for the purpose of committing criminal activity. And we believe that that has to be fought, and it has to be fought in a strong way. No two bones about that. And so, governance and legislation must suit our reality. So whatever we call the group, however large it is, if it poses a clear danger to society, then that danger and those who perpetrate the danger have to be dealt with. Now, this piece of legislation, this bill, is not yet legislation, but this bill, as introduced by the Honourable Member for the city, and like you, Mr. Speaker, he is an eminent, with an E, senior counsel. He is a senior counsel, Mr. Speaker. He is no longer a king's counsel. He, like the rest of us in this Barbados Labour Party, recognize that we are now a republic, and that the king is no longer the king of our country. He is still the head of the Commonwealth, but with respect to our country, he who introduced this bill is an eminent attorney at law. And Mr. Speaker, I think that it is so apt that he, having served as chairman of the committee set up, the deputy chair or the co-chair of the committee that we set up to address these matters, was the one to actually introduce it into Parliament. Now, group activity, and I'm using the word group as opposed to gang, because I'm not getting involved in foolish, puerile engagements over use of words. There are people who want us to fight the scourge and are pussyfooting around what words should be used. So I'm using the word group. When people come together to do anything, they are much more powerful and much more effective than if they approach the similar issue individually. And so the force of 3, the force of 5, the force of 10 is exponentially greater than the force of the individuals if they act in an individual manner. And that is why group activity that addresses or that speaks to committing criminal activity or any activity that will serve to destabilize a community or destabilize a country must be addressed with a certain level of seriousness and with a certain strength. This bill, Mr. Speaker, does that. It recognizes a challenge, it recognizes an issue, it recognizes its gravity, and it is, as a bill, and hopefully when it becomes law, a demonstration that this administration, this Barbados Labour Party in government, is determined to root out the scourge of crime using a number of different tools, but in this case, addressing the matter of groups of people coming together for the purpose of committing criminal activity or destabilizing our society. Criminal activity destroys families, Mr. Speaker. It destroys families. There are families in Barbados today, all over the country, that are suffering because people have been impacted by criminal activity. In some cases, they have been the victims of criminal activity. In some cases, those families are families where the perpetrator came from. And addressing this scourge, addressing the matter of criminal activity with a view of reducing and eliminating it helps victims, stops others from becoming victims, but it also addresses the fact that if they are perpetrators, then the families of those perpetrators are also in danger, are also destabilized. The Honourable Member for the City spoke to harboring. He knows better than me, but a family that is harboring is a family on edge. Every siren, every rev of a vehicle causes a reaction. So that while the victim, and the victim is the one that I think we should probably be more concerned about, and I would agree with that, but there are relatives, and in some cases, innocent relatives of the perpetrator who are also being negatively impacted. And so I say families are impacted across the board. Breadwinners are taken away, either by injury, by death, by incarceration. Apart from families, communities are impacted. And there are times when communities are stained because of the bad behavior of a few. So that there are sometimes those who, and in the context of my role as the minister responsible for labor, sometimes there are those who employ, who based on the address may make a decision one way or another. So communities are impacted. Communities are stained. Communities are also impacted when little children are not sure if to go outside, when parents are not sure if to leave their children outside. Communities are impacted when there are community gatherings and those in the community are not sure about what will happen. It used to be after dark, but now it could be even during sunlight hours, daylight hours. Communities are impacted. Social activity in communities impacted. The Honourable Member for the City spoke to institutions. And Mr. Speaker, this is probably one of the most serious implications for criminal activity, particularly the serious criminal activity that groups of people get involved with. Because, Mr. Speaker, when the institutions of a state are destabilized, the entire state is destabilized. There can be no strong families in a destabilized state. There can be no strong communities in a country where the institutions of the state have been destabilized. And so the matter of addressing groups of people engaged in criminal activity or planning criminal activity is one that a nation must be strong in its approach to. Must be absolutely strong, because we cannot afford for the institutions of our country to be destabilized. Educational institutions, legal institutions, Mr. Speaker, also health institutions. There are times when those who are at the hospital, when there is an emergency, if I may use that term, there are people who are in pain who have to wait until a stab victim or a gunshot victim is addressed. There are also people there who are there to visit relatives who have to stand back, look around, who are fearful in the institution. That is an attempt to destabilize a health institution. Because sometimes if a person who is supposed to be taken out has only been injured, there is sometimes the feeling that somebody will turn up at the healthcare institution to finish the job. A place where people go when they are ill, when they are sick, needing care, when they are at probably their most vulnerable. And so criminal activity also impacts and can also destabilize our healthcare institutions. We've had situations where people trying to fix a pipe to get water to a community, men trying to fix a pipe, and they are descended upon by groups of people. Groups of people who have come not to help them tread pipe or dig out a channel, but to steal. Our institutions are at risk if the matter of crime and criminal activity is not addressed in this country. And so crime and criminal activity and the exponential impact of groups of people coming together to execute crime and criminal activity has a negative impact, a significant negative impact on the existence of a country as a state where people can live, can operate, can enjoy themselves. This bill, and the Honourable Member for the City spoke to the fact that it constitutes part of a suite of legislation. And I think that is an important point. There are some people out there who I don't know what has happened to their gray matter. But every time we bring a piece of legislation and we indicate that it is part of a wider approach, there are those who hold on to that piece of legislation and say government thinks that you can handle this issue by this piece of legislation. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm not speaking today through you to those people. I can't do anything about them. I will, however, pray for them, because Christians believe in the power and potency of prayer. But in my sharing in this debate, I'm speaking to those whose brains working at least half good, like I think mine is. This bill is part of a suite of legislation. In other words, it is part of a number of pieces of legislation. It is part of a wider approach to addressing the issue of crime in this country. It is not expected, and I can't use the word silver bullet because we're trying to get away from bullets. But whatever the alternative phrase is, it is not that panacea. It is not that one thing that is expected to work magic and solve the problem. It is one of a number of things. So, for example, Mr. Speaker, when we came to office, some of those who are now acting up and saying all kinds of stuff, you know, we came to office, Mr. Speaker, and the scanners in the port not working. Scanners in the port not working. We say always that guns don't drop out the sky, at least not in Barbados. They don't swim. They don't board aircraft on their own. So they're getting into the country somehow. But people now keeping noise on the outside because there are none of them in here. But there are people on the outside keeping noise, apparently not remembering that they left government without scanners. And you know, I'm really happy. I mentioned Christianity early. I believe, and the honorable member for St. Michael Northeast talks about it sometimes, Paul and the New Testament. I'm happy that there are those among us who saw the light and who left the darkness. But there are those who are still in darkness, who do not remember that they left a port without functioning scanners. Mr. Speaker, scanners at the port is part of this government's approach. The honorable member spoke about courts. We increased the number of judges. I remember when we did that some of those naysayers were saying, well, you believe that just increasing the number of judges is going to solve the problem? Mr. Speaker, like I said, I'm not speaking to them, but to the people who are thinking and who are honestly asking questions, because people have the right to interrogate us and to ask honest questions. To those people, I say scanners was part of our approach. It was not all of the approach. An increase in the number of judges was part of the approach. It was not the complete approach. If we get to gun courts, that will be part of the approach. That will not be the complete approach. If we are able to restructure our judicial system, that will be part of the approach. It will not be the complete approach. This anti-gang bill is part of the approach, an important part of the approach, but it is not the entire approach. This is a bill that comes from the bowels of a government that recognizes that governing means addressing issues from varying perspectives. This matter of groups of people coming together is one that has to be addressed, and this anti-gang bill, when it becomes law, will be an integral part of addressing the matter of groups of people committing crime in this country. Mr. Speaker, I have to speak in this debate from a number of perspectives. I will come, even though we had the press briefing yesterday, I will repeat a bit about the faith-based organizations, but I will say to you that every time I hear about a shooting, particularly about a shooting, I have to remember and call to mind my friend Newton Lewis, friend and neighbor. Newton, I am from Rosehill. Newton was from Rosehill. Newton was murdered in Rosehill. My parents' house bore a bullet hole from that interaction in Rosehill because it happened right in front of my parents' home. And so when I think about criminal activity, and when I think about Newton Lewis, of no blessed memory, who lost his life trying to stop a group of people who had descended upon a shop with the purpose of committing criminal activity, then I have to get involved in a debate like this. Because communities must not be terrorized by those who are up to no good, who, like the Honourable Member for the City said, will look to take away the hard-earned money and property from people who have worked, who have sweated, who have toiled to get what they have. Whenever we have to deal with that, all right-thinking people in this country must take a stand. Mr. Speaker, I say that because there are some types of crime that when committed, even decent people become fearful about speaking. And I'm aware of that. And the reason why, Mr. Speaker, I speak without fear maybe comes from my Christianity, so I don't believe that this life is all that there is. And so I've never really been fearful of death, except when my children were small. If anything happens to me now, the Honourable Member for Christchurch East will take care of one of them, but maybe both of them. But I speak on this matter without any fear. Without any fear. We have to tackle this scourge. We have to try to change the mindsets of people who could be currently involved and stop those who may want to get involved. So I don't believe in the lick and lock up and kill and that kind of thing in terms of perpetrators. I believe in rehabilitation first. But I also believe that there sometimes comes a time when drastic action has to be taken. This bill allows for, when that time comes, for the drastic action to be taken. And so this bill must put on notice all those in our communities who are intent on committing crime. This government is intent on keeping our communities safe. This government is intent on protecting our families. This government is intent on ensuring that our institutions of state remain strong so that we can develop people, so that we can develop our societies, so that we can develop our country. Now, Mr. Speaker, yesterday I spoke to the media about the faith-based organization Special Fund Grant Facility. This was part of our 2026 manifesto. And I must use this opportunity to remind you, Mr. Speaker, and to remind the country through you, that the Barbados Labour Party considers its manifesto, its election manifesto, to be a contract with the people. Our manifestos have never been only about soliciting votes and getting support for an election. We believe, and we believe strongly, it is embedded in the fabric of this political institution that when you go to the public and you say, and you wave the document and you say, everything in here, these are plans that we have for our country, that you ought to stick to them because people have made decisions to support you. People have made decisions to support you based on what you have in that document. We were able to publish in the election campaign our red record. But part of the manifesto included a promise to the country that we would set up a special fund, a fund facility to disburse grants to faith-based organizations. We indicated that it would constitute $5 million. It would be constituted by $5 million every year, and that faith-based organizations would be able to access that fund in order to execute projects or programs specifically targeted to young people. Cabinet yesterday approved the minutes of a decision taken last Thursday, 2 Thursdays ago now, and that approval was for the policy and the operational framework of what we refer to as the Faith-Based Organization Special Fund Grant Facility. Like I said, Mr. Speaker, it will be funded through public funds at the level of $5 million per year. It will be disbursed quarterly, $1.25 million per quarter, up to $1.25 million per quarter. And the reason we've done that is because estimates are estimates of not just expenditure, but estimates of revenue and expenditure. And so we know that all of government's revenue does not come in all at once, and so the expenditure cannot happen all at once. So $1.25 million per quarter. I am happy to say, Mr. Speaker, that this weekend, Cabinet approved the minutes yesterday. This weekend, we will be publishing our first call for proposals. That document should already be in the newspaper. That call will be so that before the end of this month, we're not waiting for the first quarter to finish. We jump on this immediately because we recognize, like the party recognizes, that we have to address these issues using varying types of interventions. And so supporting the anti-gang bill, supporting the additional judges, supporting scanners, supporting other pieces of legislation to come is this fund allowing faith-based organizations to do what faith-based organizations are passionate about: changing lives, helping people to go down the right road, instilling values in people. These funds will be available for faith-based organizations, and I say faith-based organizations because in my ministry and in my psyche, we operate with all faith-based organizations: Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Rastafari, Jewish. I feel as though I may have missed one. Christianity, Christians, Baha'i, all faith-based organizations. And Mr. Speaker, in keeping with our party's ethos, philosophy of engaging with our stakeholders, we held a faith-based organization symposium. We have a symposium every year, but we had a symposium about a month and a half ago with the leaders of all the faiths. They were able to input on the draft policy and proposal. They were able to have amendments made to it, and it was on the basis of their intervention there were about 30 people representing the leadership of various faith groups across this country. With their input, with their collaboration, Cabinet was able to agree this policy. And so faith-based organizations will be able to submit proposals for projects in the areas of innovation and enterprise, health and wellness, crime prevention, general youth engagement, and life skills development. And Mr. Speaker, you and all who are hearing me will realize that these areas are pretty broad, because we do not presume to know exactly what a faith-based organization will want to do as it addresses the matter of working with our young people to make sure that they can become productive, fulfilled citizens. And so we have given some broad mandates, but we believe that these 5 areas represent the areas that will bring maximum benefit to our young people, and through our young people, maximum benefit to our country. Innovation and enterprise. Young people, there are some young people who like the hustle. In other places, they're called gig workers, but they want to do something on their own. Innovation, enterprise, they need to get the skills to do that. Health and wellness. That is important because a lot, Mr. Speaker, of the dysfunction that we see is a result of mental challenges. Sometimes mental challenges in the community, mental challenges in the homes, mental challenges in society generally. Health and wellness, crime prevention. That is obviously important, and that is an area where we connect with this bill. And so the matter of sensitizing young people to the fact that gangs are not the answer, crime prevention, youth engagement of whatever type, positive youth engagement and life skills development. There will be an evaluation and monitoring committee set up. It will be chaired by the permanent secretary in the ministry that has responsibility for religious affairs, and that permanent secretary will chair. The committee will be made up of youth. It will be made up of experienced community practitioners. It will be made up also of the faith-based organizations that are members of the Social Justice Committee from time to time, because membership of the Social Justice Committee rotates across faith-based organizations. And so there will be a group, a very representative group. I forgot to mention a senior social worker. And Mr. Speaker, with your background, I really should have called that one first. But you will pardon my neglect of that. A senior social worker will be a member of that committee as well. That evaluation and monitoring committee will evaluate the proposals. And I have to say to you, Mr. Speaker, and to the chamber and to the country, that in our effort to make sure that faith-based organizations do not have to jump through hoops and do all kinds of fancy stuff to be able to access this fund. This fund is not a trophy. It is not expected to be placed on a shelf alongside of a cabinet-approved policy to collect dust. It is expected to be accessed by faith-based organizations. And so in our symposium with the leaders of faith-based organizations, we committed to, and we also made that commitment to the cabinet, we will have on board, our ministry will have on board, persons who are experienced in writing proposals. Now, we are not asking faith-based organizations to write 10 and 15-page project proposals. 2 or 3 pages that capture the essence of the project and give an indication that it is a viable project will be accepted. But we believe, and I remember the honourable member for St. Michael's South speaking to me on that when we had a subcommittee of cabinet addressing the policy. We are still, even though not requiring any fancy document, we are still providing the resources to help faith-based organizations to properly craft a project document. We believe that alongside addressing the needs of our young people and addressing through them the needs of our country, that we can use this opportunity to build the skills capacity for faith-based organizations. And so, free of cost to them, we will be providing that service where they can have help in drafting. All they need to come with is the idea, and they can have that proposal crafted. It will be evaluated. Funds will be disbursed according to what is agreed with the evaluation committee. We are conscious, Mr. Speaker, that these are public funds. And so there will be a monitoring mechanism. That monitoring mechanism will ensure that the people's money, and I've said in many places, I've only come to this place with my reputation, and when I leave, I expect to leave with my reputation. So that these disbursements, even though they are going to faith-based organizations, there will be monitored. And so we will monitor to make sure that the money is properly spent and that lives are impacted, families are impacted, communities are positively impacted, and ultimately our nation will be impacted. And Mr. Speaker, I've gone through those details only to reinforce the point that I made earlier. The anti-gang bill, because you may be thinking about relevance, and I stand always fully within the standing orders. The anti-gang bill is one of a number of tools that we are using as a government to fight crime and to make sure that we have a strong country. The faith-based organization special grant fund facility is one of the interventions that we are also using because we believe that the anti-gang legislation will not work on its own. There must be companion legislation and companion interventions. And that is the reason why, as a government and as minister responsible for religious affairs, I thought it necessary to demonstrate and to explain to the country, through you, Mr. Speaker, that this government recognizes that governing requires a holistic approach. And this government is fully committed to a holistic approach. We will address gangs, their leaders, the harboring, everything that relates to gangs. We will also address our young people to stop them, prevent them from getting to that point. Because, Mr. Speaker, if we pass this legislation and never, ever have to use it, this country would have won a decisive victory in the fight against crime. We recognize that in fighting crime, we must have all of the avenues open to us. And that is why this bill is important. That is why the fund is important. And so, Mr. Speaker, recognizing that governing means that holistic approach, requires that holistic approach, I have absolutely no reservation in supporting this bill brought by the Honourable Member for the City, this anti-gang bill, a bill for today, a bill for Barbados, a bill that is necessary to ensure that we can live in a safe and secure country. I thank you and I bless you.
Honourable Member for Christchurch East.
Good afternoon, sir. I rise to lend my support to the bill being shepherded through Parliament by the Honourable Member for the City. Before I do that, sir, I had asked your permission so I do so with the confidence that I'm not breaching anything. I want to recognize the students from community college, I think they're first-year students. Their supervisor has instructed me that one of the things they've done most recently is gangs. They study gangs, and they are deeply interested in this particular legislation. If I know her, sir, as I've known her for many years, I strongly suggest that they pay attention, because this may turn out as one of the questions on their exam. But having said that, I also want to recognize Ms. Letitia Bourne. I always knew in school, sir, when we got taken on a field trip, something was coming in the exam about the field trip. So I want to recognize as well Ms. Letitia Bourne, who manages the program at Community College, the law program at Community College. And she has been instrumental in developing a lot of young persons to pursue careers in law. I am thinking of a particular person as we speak, sir, who she gave a chance to a number of years ago. And that person made her and myself very, very proud, and is now an exceedingly well-respected member of the legal fraternity. Quite often you get your flowers when you're in the grave, sir, and I just want to give Ms. Letitia Bourne her flowers now for the work that she has done in molding a lot of young minds into the noble pursuit of law. So I thank you. Sir, the honourable member for the city, as he spoke, indicated that I would expand on a number of things, sir, and I propose to do that. I propose to provide explanations as to why certain decisions were taken, why certain clauses are as they appear or not otherwise, why things were included, why things were left out, and just flesh out the bill. Now, sir, I think we need to start from a point of acceptance. Somebody who spoke, indicated that administrations ago, somebody made a statement that there are no gangs in Barbados to just confuse young people. And I think that that statement and that philosophy has set us back in not addressing at the formative time something that was emerging, to the point where, sir, the horse has actually bolted far from that stable, and we're now chasing down that horse trying to get it back in. So I wish to start from a point of acceptance. Otherwise, nothing I say here is going to make any sense. There are gangs in Barbados. I, as Attorney General, accept that there are gangs in Barbados. The honourable member for the city, as the person piloting this bill, accepts that there are gangs in Barbados. The Bar Association, who was consulted on this, accepts that there are gangs in Barbados. The judiciary, who also had sight of the legislation, accepts that there are gangs in Barbados. The government accepts that there are gangs in Barbados. So let us start from the position that we accept that there are gangs in Barbados. But sir, what actually constitutes a gang, and what constitutes a gang member? So if we go to Section 3 of the bill, the meaning of gang is defined. This was a provision that caused great discussion in drafting. We took a position, we took another position, we came back to position, and we're now to where we are here. It came on the definition of what is a gang. So in this bill, a gang means any association, organization, group, alliance, network, combination, or other arrangement among 3 or more persons. 3 or more persons, whether formally or informally affiliated or organized, and whether or not operating through a body corporate or other association. Now, sir, we had some persons weighing in suggesting that 3 might be too low a number. We contemplated using 5 as a number, but in our wider consultations, the argument was made, and I appreciate the argument, that the threshold of 5 might be a difficult threshold to prove. And if a gang is emerging and there are 3 members, then that gang should be caught at that point in time and not wait till they get to 5 or 6 or 10 or 20. So from the time the philosophy or ethos behind a gang starts to form and you hit the 3, then you qualify to be a gang. Now, people have argued and said, but what does that mean for me if I hang out on a block or I hang out with friends or 3 of us roll together, sir, myself, the Honourable Member for St. John, the Honourable Member for the city. But he piloted the bill, so we leave him out. The Honourable Member for St. Thomas. If the 3 of us hang out together, and we hang out on the street together, and we go to cricket together, we have football together, and we roll together all the time, does that not leave us open to being construed as a gang if the number is 3? But sir, it's all in the definition. It is 3 persons or a body of 3 persons, and it starts with that engage in criminal activity. So that's the criteria straight off the bat. You either engage in criminal activity, you through your membership or participation in the association, engage in gang-related activities, or you issue threats or engage in violent conduct to create fear, intimidate, exert power, or gain influence in communities or over other persons, or you obtain directly or indirectly a financial or other material benefit. Sir, this does not catch 3 people casually liming. The criteria and the definition here pre-qualifies you on the basis of criminal activity. The 3 of you, or the 3 or more of you, must engage in criminal activity. At the time we had our initial draft, sir, we used legislation from Trinidad, we looked at legislation from Jamaica, we looked at legislation from other parts of the Commonwealth as well in relation to what constitutes a gang. And the phrasing that we had initially was who have as one of their principal objectives engaging in criminal activity. But then, sir, that becomes a little bit difficult to prove. How do we prove it's one of your principal objectives? How do you know what your other objectives are? So, for example, if you are a football club, and a lot of you there in the football club, and you do other things, and you raise funds and whatnot, and some of you join together to go and commit crimes, and you do it on a regular. The fact that you are principally a football club, that you raise money for charity, that you help old people, if we can't establish that your principal objective is criminality, then you don't qualify as a gang. So we eliminated that, and the phrasing that was used, A, principal criteria, a group of 3 or more persons that engages in criminal activity, and then the other things. So that straight away quashes that argument. If the 3 or more of you engage in criminal activity, despite what else you do, you qualify as a gang under this legislation. Because of the sentences involved in here, sir, you do not wish to qualify as a gang under this legislation. The other definition, sir, that we need to consider is what constitutes a gang member. So before, sir, we had a gang member being somebody who is who participates in gang-related activities. And the point was made that gangs traditionally have symbols, they have identifying things, handshakes, they have initiation processes that in many gangs, to get into the gang, you have to go and first commit a criminal activity, right? Some of you got to earn your stripes. So the gang member there presupposed somebody who was formally indoctrinated into a gang. Is that what we want? No. That raises the bar too high. So the definition of someone of a gang member is now and is settled to include a person who belongs to a gang. So that catches those who formally have indoctrinated themselves, who engages in gang-related criminal activity, and who associates with a gang. So if, sir, you associate with a gang, you know that these people that you're hanging with are a bunch of criminals. You know that they get together all the time to do foolishness. You know that last week they went and robbed Miss Smith's shop together as a group. You know that next week they're planning a drive-by at a football match to take out somebody. It is not a defense to you to say, I hang with them, but you know what, I never actually joined them. If you are associating with these people, you lead yourself open to becoming or being classified as a gang member. So gang member now includes an associate. We had an option, sir, of having a legislation where the offense happens by a gang member. You can keep putting down or associate. No, we simplified that by expanding the definition of gang member to include somebody who's associated with the gang. Now, why is this important, sir? A trend has cropped up in Barbados where you see men getting arrested, and the men walk across the courtyard to go to make their first appearance at court or come back across the courtyard from the first appearance at court, and there are tons of people. I remember passing out by the magistrate's court, I think late last year, sir, and I saw a whole set of people, and I thought, this might be a celebrity wedding because people are dressed down. And I understood there was a group of men who had committed some criminal activity, and they were embarking upon their parade across the courtyard. And almost to a man, people flashing gang signs, people like pumping the fist, flashing gang signs, and it was in the newspaper, front page of the newspaper. If you see fit to visibly demonstrate your association with a gang by flashing gang signs, you can be charged for that. Being a member of a gang under this legislation is a criminal offense all by itself. You don't have to commit the criminal offense on behalf of the gang. You don't have to join with the others on behalf of the gang. You associate with them, and you, by your actions, demonstrate that you want to be identified with them. Okay, you can be charged for that. So in addition to the charge you're walking across the court to answer, when you come out flashing your signs, you might find yourself back in the police station for an additional charge of being a gang member. I want the youngsters who sometimes don't think about what they're doing to understand that when you're taking pictures, now if you see all your youngsters taking pictures, they go to a cruise, somebody take a picture of them, invariably the head is bowed, and they got some gang sign going on down here. If you taking pictures demonstrating gang signs and you put them on your Instagram or your social media, that is evidence of you associating or affiliating with a gang, and you may leave yourself open to a charge. You may defend it at the end of the day, but you will do your perk walk across the courtyard by having said to all and sundry and posted it that I am affiliated with this gang and I want the whole world to know it. People now need to think. Belonging to a gang, I'm not even getting into criminality yet, and I will. Belonging to a gang is a criminal offense in Barbados. Sir, if we now go on to harboring and sheltering, the honourable member spoke about harboring and sheltering, and that is one that causes some difficulty in the construction of it. Because the argument then comes in, what is sheltering? If you're a mother putting out your child as you are supposed to do, can you be convicted of harboring? No, sir, the law is not an ass. There's a saying, sir, that the law is an ass. But in this instance, the law is not intending to be an ass. A person who knowingly harbors or conceals a gang leader or gang member commits an offense and is liable on conviction or indictment to imprisonment for not less than 10 years nor more than 25. One of the other things you will notice in this legislation is that there are minimum sentences for almost everything. We are not playing. The message has to be sent that this is serious. Your start-off sentence, I think in here, is probably 10 years, right? Your start-off is 10. For more serious offenses, is 15 to 30 or 15 to 35. But if you choose to associate with a gang, belong to a gang, harbor anybody belonging to a gang, you are starting off looking at spending 10 years in jail. Now, the one thing, sir, the one proviso is that the person who is convicted is acting in loco parentis or they're a child themselves. We accept that parents look out for the children. We accept that the relationship of a parent is in a completely different category. The other thing, sir, that we do is we accept that provisions have to be made for maturity levels, and we recognize, sir, in relation to minors, that special dispensation has to be made in relation to minors. In this legislation, sir, you will see that in particular where offenses are committed by children, the court retains a discretion to adjust the minimum sentence. So while the minimum sentence exists, there's a discretion in there that the minimum sentence can possibly not be applied. And I want to draw attention to this because it contains a departure from other pieces of legislation. Let's talk about recruitment, right? Where, sir, somebody recruits somebody to a gang, a child to a gang. So there's recruitment of persons to a gang, and then there's recruitment of children to a gang. I'll start by saying that recruiting a child to the gang carries a higher sentence than recruiting a person, a non-child, an adult to the gang. This is about protecting society, and this is about catching our young people and protecting our young people. So a person who recruits a child to a gang commits an offense and is liable on indictment to imprisonment for not less than 10 years and not more than 25. And please notice, sir, everything in here says is liable on indictment. Nothing in here is being dealt with at the magistrate's court. If you are charged on this, you are going to the High Court. This is sending a message as to the gravity of the offenses under this and exactly where the government sees this in the hierarchy of crimes. So any person who recruits a child to a gang commits an offense, liable on indictment to imprisonment for not less than 10 years, not more than 25 years. Notwithstanding subsection 1, a person who on the premises of a school or a place of worship, we are sanctifying schools and places of worship. These are supposed to be safe places for children to go. Your children have to go to school. We have a perfect example, sir, of some intelligent young people who find themselves at school to do their courses. A child is supposed to go to school. Sir, I would like to think that a child's supposed to go to church. Back in the days, I used to go to church. I used to go to church twice on a Sunday. I was an altar boy. At one point in time, I wanted to become a priest. And I found myself willingly in church twice on a Sunday. But a child should feel safe in going to church.
Armor, we say willingly or knowingly?
Pardon?
Willingly? You use the term willingly. You said willingly or knowingly?
Sir, at an appropriate time, sir, I will show you a picture of me.
No, but it might be knowingly rather than willingly.
Sir, I was there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it might be knowingly rather than willingly.
Precisely, sir. Precisely. So notwithstanding subsection 1, a person who on the premises of a school or place of worship or within 500 meters of a school or place of worship, don't even play technicalities. Don't go close to the schools, don't go close to places of worship. Recruits a child to a gang, commits an offense, and is liable on conviction on indictment to imprisonment for not less than 15 years and not more than 25. So if you recruit a child, you're looking at 10 to 20. If you recruit a child in the vicinity of a school or place of worship, you're looking at 15 to 25, right? person recruits another person other than a child is 10 to 20. Here's where we want to draw the point. The court may impose a lesser sentence than that specified in the subsections where the person who committed the offense was under the age of 18 years old at the time of the offense. So where a child recruits a child, we make an allowance for that to come under the minimum. Where the person who committed the offense had not previously committed an offense of an indictable offense, or one of a violent nature. Where the public safety and public order will not be prejudiced. And the court is of the opinion that there are exceptional circumstances relating to the offense or to the person convicted of the offense which justify its doing so. Normally, sir, that says or. So if you take off one of these boxes, the court can exercise its discretion. So if we go back, just to take those who are listening to understand the point, mandatory minimum sentences have been deemed over and over to be unconstitutional. So we have to preserve the discretion of the court to come under the mandatory minimum where certain circumstances apply. And in those, sir, it is normally where you are a child or where you're a first-time offender or where public safety and public order will not be prejudiced, or the court finds other circumstances to justify bringing you under the minimum. Sir, under the gang legislation, those ors have been changed to and. So the court is under a stricter circumstance here because it cannot even be vague in the exercise of its discretion. The drafters, we deal with separation of powers. The legislature is sending a message. This is how gang offenses are perceived in Barbados, the seriousness of it. We want the persons convicted of gang offenses, gang-related offenses, to go to jail. We want them to go to jail and start their sentence at a minimum. We accept that you, the court, have your discretion. But knowing what you know, living in Barbados, understanding the current climate that gave rise to this legislation, if you wish to exercise your discretion, the person should come under all of these, not tick off one. It must be a super exceptional circumstance that you are a minor. You are a first-time offender. What you did was not so heinous that, we can't excuse you. And they must find other exceptional circumstances. So the discretion is there, but the discretion has to be exercised within narrow constraints. Sir, if anybody is even confused about that, if we go towards the back of the legislation, sir, power to vary sentences, section 23(1)(23). Notwithstanding the foregoing provisions in this act regarding sentences of a person convicted, the court may in its discretion impose a lesser sentence. Subject to sections 5 and 6, where a court under subsection 1 imposes a lesser sentence than that prescribed for the offense, the court must give reasons for its departure. So we are now putting the court, you can't just say, you know what, I find exceptional circumstances. We're being transparent. We are saying we want the persons convicted under here to go to jail and start off at 10 years. If you choose to exercise your discretion, write the reasons. Put the reasons down. Because what people don't realize is that the Crown retains a discretion to appeal sentencing. It very seldom happens. Normally, the appeals on sentencing come in relation to the accused person. The accused person thinks the sentence was too harsh, and they go and appeal. Right? It's excessive, and they go and appeal. The judge didn't take sufficient considerations into account, and they go and appeal. Right?
Or quote the wrong law too.
Or quote the wrong law, correct. But what people don't know is that the Crown has the right of appeal as well. So under this, if the judges see fit to exercise their discretion to come under the minimum sentences, then they have to give the reasons. And if that reason does not pass muster, the Crown can appeal and say, you give the man 2 years, or you give the man probation. No, we don't agree. 10 years. I am taking pains to explain this because the public has to understand where we are and the message we are sending. So to all the people who casually associate and don't think about who they hang out with, and don't think about who they harbor in the house, and don't think about their activities, I'm telling you, pause and think. Pause and think. Sir, even the evidence in relation to a gang, the prosecution does not have to prove that the gang has a name, that the gang has a particular sign, that they have a particular indoctrination method. If you qualify as a gang by virtue of engaging in a criminal activity with 3 or more of you, then you don't need to disprove things. Sir, the other criteria that would show membership in a gang and are admissible in proceedings under this act is whether a person has admitted that he is a gang leader or a gang member, evidence that the person is or has associated or been involved with a gang with the intent to facilitate the commission of a gang-related activity or to promote, further, or assist in gang-related activity, not that they did it, that they associated with the intent to. Evidence of a gang-related activity by the person that indicates a link or involvement with the gang, evidence that the person knowingly assisted, anywhere facilitated the concealment, transportation, disposal of anything evidentiary value relating to the commission of a gang-related activity by a gang. So for all of those who take the gun and go and dispose of it, take the clothes that go on the blood and go and burn them, burn the car, hide the proceeds. Somebody come, you hear somebody get shoot up, and a gold chain with a big cross and diamond encrusted was taken from the person. And my friend turned up at my house and said, hold this for me. Right? Once we know that you participated in it, you fall in here to be construed as belonging to that gang. Evidence that the person knowingly concealed or shared in the proceeds of gang-related activity committed by a gang. When my friend, sir, comes home by me and says to me, Wilfred, I need some place to stay for a little bit, right? Hold this little $5,000 here and park it in my house. If you got $5,000, go and rent some place to stay. If I accept it from you in circumstances where I must know that it came through gang-related activities, I run myself afoul of the law. Also, sir, any statement made or information given, distributed, or communicated by the person on behalf of or in the name of a gang, or any statement made by or on behalf of the person, whether orally or in writing, and published by or otherwise distributed by him or his behalf, indicating his involvement in the commission of gang-related activity by a gang. So for all of you who want to post them videos on social media, showing the gun in the video and some other men that you know just come out of jail for gang-related activity, you run yourself liable to be arrested. For those who want to say, I associate as a, I don't want to call the names of any gangs, let me go with Trinidadian gangster, as a 6, or I'm a 7, or I'm a Crip, or I'm a Blood, or I'm a whatever, right? If you post that online, you're hanging yourself by your own bootstrap. Now, one of the points that was made when we were initially drafting, and we saw the need to put it in here, is people said, but look, this leads to stigmatism on the basis of location. If I live in an area normally associated with gangs in Barbados, and I hang up on a block because my house got in 10 people, and then a way for me to go outside, open the step, I'm going to be branded as belonging to a gang. No. specifically to address that concern. I think that was raised in the Citizen Security Committee. I know it was raised by other persons when the bill initially became circulated. We want to disavow people of that notion. We are not targeting anybody based on where you live. We are not targeting you based on where you live. We are targeting you based on what you do. So specifically, sir, at section 4(2), notwithstanding any of the things I said before, the community in which a person resides shall not be a factor in determining whether the person is a member of a gang. So don't come into court, the prosecution cannot come into court and say that he live out X place. I'm deliberately not calling the names of places because to do that would be to actually fly in the face of what it is I'm trying to say now. So you cannot parade a person in to say we hold 6 people from out there and he live out there too. So he gotta be one. No. You have to tick off the boxes in relation to membership in a gang and in relation to the evidentiary burden that is placed here. Where you come from, where you reside, cannot be a factor. Now, sir, the counseling, section 9. There's a section here that says counseling a gang leader or member. So a person who knowingly counsels, gives instruction or guidance to, finance in any manner, or otherwise provides support to a gang leader, gang member, or a gang in furtherance of his participation in involvement of a commission of gang-related activity commits an offense and is liable on conviction on indictment to imprisonment for 25 years. Now, sir, immediately, you know what happened. People say, this affects lawyers. If you can't counsel the person, right, how you can get in legal advice, that the lawyers might find themselves wrapped up in unintended consequences. To that, so I say, before you comment, read the legislation properly. It says, a person who knows, let's deal with counsels. I'm not going to do the other ones. Let's deal with counsels because that establishes the point. A person who knowingly counsels a gang leader, gang member, or gang in furtherance of its participation in, involvement in, or commission of a gang-related activity commits an offense. A lawyer at all times can advise their client. Everybody's entitled to legal advice. But you, the lawyers, actually need to know where the boundary lies. I'm not even touching Mackenzie, friends. You, the lawyer, needs to know where the boundary lies. You can instruct and provide legal advice to your client. You cannot do it in furtherance of a criminal objective. Actually, one of these things, sir, one of the exceptions to legal privilege is if you know that the person, you come by information that the person is going to commit a crime, you have an obligation to stop that. So lawyers can advise. If it was not clear enough there, sir, because of the comments that persons made, we specifically put it in here. In relation to tipping off was the one where it arose again. And they said if the lawyer comes to knowledge that the police doing an investigation into their client, then what is the case? Now, sir, quite frankly,
Continue, Honourable Member.
yes, sir. For tipping off, a person who knows or suspects that a police officer or any other officer of the law enforcement is acting or purporting to act in connection with investigation and discloses to another person information on any matter with a view to prejudice or intended to prejudice investigation or proposed investigation commits an offense liable on conviction and indictment to 10 to 25 years. So effectively, if you obstruct justice, if you know the investigation is happening, like so, people, sir, sometimes might be in a police station and hear something, and you see the response team gearing up and load them into the vehicles and start to call people saying they're coming by winner. Right? That might sound simple. You may be doing it for a friend. If you tip off or obstruct proceedings under this act, sir, 10 to 25 years for you. But we clarify, nothing in this subsection makes it an offense for an attorney at law to disclose any information or other matter to or to a representative of a client of his in connection with the giving by the advisor of legal advice to the client. So the exemption here, sir, is in relation to giving advice to the client or in connection with proceedings. You, the lawyer, need to know where that line is. Advise your client as to their defense. Advise your client as to things that arise if they're charged. Do not be that person to advise your client that the police are coming for you and you need to get rid of whoever it is that you got home. Tipping off is a criminal act, and under this legislation makes you liable for 10 to 25 years. One of the major things that causes issues, sir, is retaliations. I think it's accepted that a lot of the offenses gang-related now are retaliatory. So somebody killed somebody's brother, someone killed that person, you shot him, and you keep hearing, it's almost like it happens in tandem. Somebody dies and then somebody else dies. Then there's a pause and then somebody else dies and then somebody else dies. And I think we all know, sir, that this is the case pretty much of retaliation. We're addressing that too. A person shall not intentionally take retaliatory action against another person or a relative or a friend or associate or the property of that person on account of that person, and it lists a whole set of things. Refusing to be a gang member, ceasing to be a gang member, giving information to a law enforcement officer or intelligence officer in relation to a gang leader, gang member. They're all set out. I'm not going to go through all of them at 16. You know that phrase, snitches get stitches? Well, sir, if you retaliate against the snitch, then hear this one. You commit an offense and you're liable on conviction and indictment to imprisonment for not less than 15 and not more than 30. So you're not even in the 10 to 20 category. The seriousness of that, the retaliation, puts you in the 15 to 30 category, and that was deliberate. Sir, I think we spoke briefly about detention. I'm not going to go in detail into the detention of persons, but it is just that without a warrant, I think they have ability to detain a person for up to 72 hours. And we also put in some additional powers there, sir, that if the investigation really reveals that the person needs to be detained for longer, the Commissioner of Police or a gazetted officer appointed by him for that purpose can make an application ex parte to a judge to increase the period of detention, but that gazetted officer can and should, if he looks at the report and finds no good reason to hold the person, should let them go as well. So there's a burden on them to not just detain, sir, but also be fair and balance the rights of the individual against the rights of the society, sir. Offenses against a judicial officer. This is another one. And the other thing is that a person detained under that subsection can apply to a judge showing cause where the detention order should be discharged. So this is akin to habeas corpus application, but we take it out to the realm of common law habeas corpus, and we put it as a statutory provision and relief for the accused person. So the gazetted officer can apply to have your detention extended, but you can equally apply to have your detention discharged. Judicial officers, we have a concern, sir. We initially had judicial officers as being limited to judges and magistrates, I believe, but for the purpose of this, and we accept that persons who may be targeted by gangs may not be judges and magistrates, may be judges, magistrates, prosecutors, immigration officers, customs officers, whoever. So for the purpose of this, but we get to witnesses, sir, but for the purposes of this, we extended the definition of judicial officer to include a judge, magistrate, or a member of any other governmental agency directly involved in management of a case against a member of a gang or person associated with a gang. And this now, sir, takes you into the highest threshold under this Act. A person who threatens, assaults, or engages in any activity aimed at deterring a judicial officer from the exercise of his functions under this Act commits an offence and is liable on conviction or indictment to imprisonment for not less than 10 years and not more than 30 years. So the starting, but if you interfere with a judge, a magistrate, a prosecutor, anybody involved in the management of the...
Not less than?
Pardon, sir?
Not less than?
Not less than 20 years.
Well, you
Right.
said 10.
No, he said 20, sir. He said the highest starting threshold is 20. But if you try to pervert the course of justice and try to interfere with the judicial officers must be free to do their duty. This is a dangerous area for them. They must feel protected by the state. They must be free to do their duty without fear of being threatened, having their family threatened. They should be able to discharge their duty. The starting point for troubling a judicial officer is 20 years. And that's the highest starting point, minimum sentence under this legislation. Sir, but we ain't stopped there. The question was then raised, but what about jurors? That the jurors live in the same communities. So a person who threatens, assaults, or engages in any activity aimed at deterring a member of the jury from the execution of his functions under this Act commits an offence and is liable on conviction or indictment to imprisonment for not less than 20 years, not more than 30 years. So effectively, the juries are given the exact same protection, sir, as the judicial officers. So it's not that we prioritizing the judges and magistrates over everybody else. We're saying everybody involved in our process is entitled to equal protection at the maximum level. So for all those who think about tampering with or threatening jurors or persons involved in the case, you're looking at a starting point of 20 years. The other thing to emphasize how seriously we're treating this, sir, is bail. You can't get magistrate's court bail for this. This is like firearms, sir. If you want bail in this one, you need to go to the High Court. And I think that any judge reading the legislation and understanding what's going on will be...
I'm listening, Honourable Member.
Would understand, sir, that bail is a right, but it is a right that should be jealously guarded. And if you are playing with fire, then you may get burned. So bail is in the discretion of the judge, but equally, sir, I think the judge would have to give his reasons for granting bail. And once again, what people don't know is that the state has the right to appeal a decision on bail. So if a judge grants bail to someone in what we consider a heinous circumstance that everybody says, I cannot believe that body get bail, it is open to the state, sir, to apply, to overrule, to have that dismissed, sir, and it's sent back down for another bail hearing. I'm just checking to see. I am not saying, sir, anybody who was involved in this.
Section 22.
So, sir, I think we have sent the message. And the intention, sir, was to send the message. If you associate with gangs, you will go to jail. If you engage in gang-related activities, you will go to jail. If you harbor, facilitate, encourage persons in gang-related activities, you will go to jail. If you assist before the fact or after the fact, you will go to jail. So I would suggest, sir, that people look around themselves. If you know that you're hanging with people who are doing foolishness and you are afraid that you may get caught in it, choose your friends wisely. You have the freedom to associate. You also have the freedom to disassociate. I just want to address one last thing, sir, before I close. I saw publications in some quarters in relation to the fact that the government is bringing the anti-gang legislation and we have not gone far enough. And I know that that comment came out, I think maybe about 2 or 3 days ago. It was a snippet on one of the radio stations. It came out about 2 or 3 days ago. And it was attributed to somebody who is a lawyer. And I just wonder where that person was.
I remember, I don't want to stop you. I just want to ask a question. If I'm hearing you correct, the person is not an attorney at law, but a lawyer. Because there should be a distinction. Continue on, remember. Please continue.
That person, sir, has passed the bar, paid the fees, and I understand is practicing under a shingle that says attorney at law. But
because remember, there's a distinction between a lawyer.
I know, sir. I know.
So I was just wondering aloud. Continue on, remember.
Sir, and the person said that we did not go far enough. And that there's nowhere in here that talks about rehabilitation of gang members. There's nowhere in here that talks about diversion and social programming. There's nowhere in here that addresses those things. I wish to tell that person, everybody else, don't get confused. This is not that piece of legislation. This government has over and over provided opportunity after opportunity, program after program, to divert people from a criminal stream. So we have the Chapman Challenge, which was an initiative of the President of Barbados, aimed at producing a cadre of young people of which Barbados can be proud. We had the peace program. We have social programs. We have legitimate clubs in Barbados. We got the trust loan program. So even if you're not bankable, even if you never had a chance for anybody before, the government can back you to allow you to back yourself. So we had the construction gateway. This government has had program after program after program aimed at empowering our young people, aimed at giving disadvantaged persons a chance, aimed at all of that. My conscience is clear where that is concerned. If you are a young person looking for constructive pursuits, there's something that this government already has in place that can address your concerns. Do not look in this legislation to bail you out. This legislation is sending a message. I don't want anybody to be confused about the message it is sending. If you belong to a gang, associate with gang, engage in gang-related activities, harbor and conceal, facilitate, start to run with the words. If you feel you want to belong and befriend people in the gang, you may find yourself in jail. Every offense in this piece of legislation is punishable by a jail sentence, and most of them, sir, are punishable by a mandatory minimum sentence, while preserving the right of the judge to come below that in exceptional circumstances, and even so, those circumstances are strictly defined. I am comfortable, sir, that we have done the best we could with this piece of legislation. I am comfortable that this has perhaps been one of the most widely consulted on piece of legislation that we've ever done. We involve all the stakeholders. We involve the bar, we consulted with the bench, we consulted with the citizen security councils. We actually took some people, once the initial bill went up on the website, some people actually sent feedback in, and we looked at that as well, right? So I don't want the message to be confused. The government is dropping the hammer on gangs. The government is taking back control of Barbados. The government is sending the message that should not be confused. And to the average person out there, to y'all young people, sorry, sir, through you, to the young people in the gallery and all who are listening, this is being done to protect them. This is being done to protect communities. Everybody who can hear me, this is being done to protect you. And this is being done to protect Barbados. It is one of the most rigid pieces of legislation that we have done, but that was deliberately so. The message has to be sent that we're taking back Barbados from the destabilizing effect of the gang culture. Jail, jail, jail is what awaits you if you belong to or associate with a gang. With those few words, sir, I thank you.
Honourable Member St. Philip West.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the suspension until 2:45 in the afternoon.
By the second.
The question is that this honourable chamber be suspended until 2:45 p.m. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye. Those against, please say no. We think the ayes have it. This honourable chamber stands suspended until 2:45 p.m.